barbell bench press. Now, there's a few things to cover before we get into the exercise in regards to setup. The rack height should be just below lockout so that it's easy for you to unrack the bar and it's easy for you to re-rack. If it's too high and you find yourself having to come out of your position, your setup position, in order to unrack the bar, put it down lower. And if it's too low that you find you're almost doing, a quarter or half rep to get it up, then put it up a little bit higher. There should be a sweet spot where it's, maybe 10 or 15% away from full lockout. Aside from that, making sure you have the bench set up in the center, do the best you can to line it up. Now, the big thing, the most important thing with barbell bench press is making sure you have your shoulders set and pinned back. A very common mistake people will make is they'll just lay down on the bench and they won't really support their shoulders and they'll just go through the motion. There's a lot of movement happening at the shoulder. This can be a risky situation to put yourself in, especially as you start to progress on the movement and go heavier. Reason being, like with anything, we always want to make sure we're set, we've created tension, and the muscles and joints that we're using to perform the exercise are adequately supported. So if, for example, I was doing a bench press and just imagine I was laying down on my back and my shoulders weren't supported, it would look something like this. Notice how the shoulder is moving a lot at the joint, whereas if I was set up correctly, the shoulder would be pinned back and down, and the movement only occurs really through the tricep, through the arms. There's no extra movement happening through the shoulder. Now, a good way to think of this and practice this setup before even laying down on the bench press is to keep your arms straight as an arrow, pin your shoulders back, and then imagine you're performing a bench press, but don't let your shoulders move from that position. So keep the shoulders pinned back the entire time, and then perform some imaginary reps of bench press. You'll feel the sensation of tension and you'll feel the sensation of squeezing those muscles back. It's gonna feel a little bit awkward at first if you're new to this, but after a while you get the hang of it. So, keeping all that in mind and remembering all that, we're gonna lay down, watch your head. The bar should be just above eye level, maybe more so in line with your forehead. Setting your grip, maybe shoulder width, or maybe a hand or two distance outside of shoulder width. Just make sure it's even. Use the markings on the bar to figure out if it's even. Always double check. Now, before I unrack the bar, I've made sure that my grip is set. I'm laying down flat on the bench, and I'm gonna lift myself up slightly. I'm gonna pin my shoulders back together into the bench, similar to the drill we just went through previously. Now I'm gonna unrack. Bar's gonna come out. I'm gonna come down to my lower chest. Elbows are slightly bent and tucked in. And then I'm gonna press up. 1, 2, 3, 4. When going heavy, you really wanna make sure you keep those shoulders pinned back. An easy way to think about it is think about lifting your chest up. You'll notice that subtle movement, and that's gonna help me maintain engagement through my lats. Now, some things to keep in mind when performing the movement. We want our elbows to be in a 45-degree angle. We don't want to be here flaring out and the bar coming down to our neck or upper chest. We want our elbows slightly in, and this ties back in with engaging your lats and pinning the shoulders back. It all works hand in hand, and the bar should come down to your lower chest line. All right, and then as you press it up, it'll naturally come back to in line with your shoulder. Aside from that, don't use momentum, focus on control of the movement. Try and focus on maintaining engagement through the lat by pinning the shoulders back and lifting the chest up. Aside from that, focus on your breathing, your bracing, and everything else should fall into place.